Yes, sir. 4-3.
Yeah, what did you respond after that?
Yeah.
What did you respond?
Good job, y'all.
Where's the party? Let's go! As you guys know, this cannot go to the whole team, but it goes to one player. And we always recognize big influence on our culture and big influence what we're trying to build over here. He talked the talk this morning and he walked the walk this evening. Here we go,
Come on, baby.
That's the best chain you got. That's the best chain you got.
Coming into this game, the Raptors knew they had their hands full against the best offense in the NBA in Tyrese Haliburton and the Indiana Pacers. Both teams were on the second night of a back-to-back, and while it was a high-scoring affair, one that ended with both teams scoring more than 130 points, it was the Toronto Raptors who escaped Indiana with a 1-point win on the back of a dominant performance from Pascal Siakam, a great defensive game in general, and a great night from their bench.
With a foul to give here. Here we go.
11.9 second difference. Game clock, shot clock. Haliburton shot is good. Indiana by 1.
Timeout here if you need it. Any issues?
Collision there. Here's Scottie. Turns the corner. Slam dunk. And a foul. Misses both. Haliburton into the front court. To Hield for the win. Doesn't go. And the Toronto Raptors escape Indiana.
It was all offense in the first half between these two teams. The Raptors did their absolute best to keep up, and they did. They scored 68 points and led by 3 after 2 quarters, shooting 63% from the field and knocking down 7 of their 12 three-point attempts. None of the Pacers' wings were a match for Pascal Siakam, who put up 19 points in the first half on 15 shots, absolutely carving up Indiana's interior defense. Pascal finished with 36 points on 24 shots, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists, and it wasn't just the scoring, but his presence in the post helped open up the Raptors' offense in the half court and helped keep them up with the Pacers. In fact, the Raptors got whatever they wanted to offensively. Dennis Schroder put up 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, slicing and dicing his way to the basket on numerous occasions. And Scottie Barnes pitched in with 20 points and 12 rebounds.
I think we just got to continue to be aggressive. I think we have guys from all over the floor that can be effective. I think just finding our spots, continue to figure it out. Like, all this is new for us, so we're a little bit hard on ourselves, most of the time, just because, again, we want to be at a higher level that we are right now. So, but I think we just got to continue to stick with it, trust each other, and just, again, like, understanding the things that we do well, continue to do them, and trying to correct some of the things that we're not doing well.
Defensively, despite allowing 131 points, the Raptors did what they could to cool down the best offense in the NBA, giving them their 8th worst half-court production night of the season thus far. Tyrese Haliburton and Buddy Hield still combined for 64 points, but that's going to happen when you're as good as the Pacers offensively. Nonetheless, I thought OG Anunoby, Dennis Schroder, and the Raptors tried multiple different schemes to bother Haliburton and crew and did just enough to pull off the win. Even Jakob Poeltl, who this wasn't the best matchup for, tried valiantly to bend but not break on defense, and the team as a whole executed on that end much better than they did against Orlando.
I thought that especially the first half, they did a really good job in transition. They had only 5 points in transition in the first half. For the whole game, we just continue preaching that, like slowing those guys down and making them half-court team. Obviously, they're so talented and that they have a lot of shooting weapons, so they were able to score 18 threes in the game. But I felt that all of those shots were hardly 4 shots. They really had to work for everything. And we talked about that being as one of the main things for us, not allowing them to score early in the shot clock and to take those shots. And I thought we made them play later in the shot clock. We were able to just multiple different matchups there on the court, trying to play with Jakob on some of their guards as well. And I think the guys did a really good job.
Another interesting wrinkle in this one was that Darko Rajakovic tweaked the rotation. With no Precious Achiuwa, Otto Porter Jr. was thrown into the game much earlier, and the Raptors comfortably went to a lineup where Scottie Barnes was acting as the nominal center alongside OG, Chris Boucher, Gary Trent Jr., and Malachi Flynn. The bench ended up winning their minutes tonight, which is a rarity this season for the Raptors, and that was not only because of Scottie and OG and their ability to sustain in those moments, but because of Flynn, who had his best game of the night with 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists on 75% shooting from the field.
Malachi was great, man. I love his energy. Like I said, I always see Malachi getting his work in every single day. I can see that his focus is different. He comes into the game with a different approach, and he's just locked in. And I think most of the time it's like when you know you're gonna play, right? Like it's like it gives you a little bit more. Because sometimes, yeah, like so you're not looking over your shoulder. He's confident out there, picking up full court, guarding, making the right plays. I think that's the most important for him. So yeah, I just wanted to continue.
Now for the film room tonight, I could dive into what the Raptors did with Siakam to dominate a Pacers team that very much so like the Mavericks game, they were able to carve up. But because it's a little bit more rare for this to happen, I'm going to talk about Malachi Flynn. So let's do it. Folks, Malachi Flynn might just be playing his best basketball of his career. It's wild to say that. I know he has a Rookie of the Month to his belt, and yes, that is important. He did ball out in that 1 month in those 7 games, but I think in terms of what his real role can be, what a sustainable role in the NBA for him can be, he's showing that in this season so far. I think, a lot of the talk has been Darko Rajakovic empowering him, giving him confidence, and I think that has showed up in his game as well because he's trusting him. If you look at the fourth quarter tonight, he rolled with Malachi Flynn until about 3 minutes and 50 seconds left in the game, which goes to show you just how much trust Darko is inputting into Malachi Flynn. It was incredible to see. Malachi obviously had his best game of the season thus far. He was maybe his best offensive game as well, just because, Indiana's defense isn't a good defense. They're not that great of a defensive team, and it helped him assert himself a little bit more as a scoring option. But I think Malachi is playing his best stretch of basketball right now, and a lot of that has to do with his decision making, his ability to make plays on both ends of the floor, and obviously his shot has become more consistent as well. So let's dive into the film room. Coming into tonight's game, Malachi Flynn is shooting 35% from 3, and it's great because he's stepping into them in confidence. Most of them are off of the catch, which makes sense given his role on this team, and the fact that he is knocking these down has opened up a lot for him offensively. He opened the second quarter with 8 straight points, 2 threes, and a nice attack off the closeout like he does in this possession. It's a weak closeout from Obi Toppin. He takes advantage of that left foot and goes all the way to the basket for a finish. This time, Malachi just reads the defense. This is a great pass by OG Anunoby to kick it to him into the corner. And so now that he's in rhythm, now that he's, within the flow of the offense, Malachi is able to make plays for others now. This time, he makes that pass to Gary Trent Jr. off the flare screen for a 3. And most people will bring up Scottie Barnes in this possession because he blew up this pick and roll, but it doesn't happen without Malachi Flynn. First contains the dribble, then switches onto Jalen Smith, and then once Tyrese Haliburton takes a drive, he steps up and Scottie switches. This is really great communication in the pick and roll, and part of that is because of Malachi. And this is something that Malachi has been good at for his entire career. It's just that, he hasn't been the greatest finisher. He gets into the teeth of the defense, draws the help, and now Scottie Barnes makes the help pay with a nice jump shot from the corner. This time, a pick and roll between Malachi and Scottie. He makes the pass to Otto Porter Jr. in the corner. This ends up in a 3, an offensive rebound, and because it's a broken play, now the defense is scrambling. Malachi takes advantage of this hard fly-by closeout, goes all the way to the rim and nearly finishes. This is exactly what you want from him. Now teams are respecting that 3-point shot by flying by on his closeouts. He's going to be able to attack the basket and make plays out of it. And defensively, he gets a nice dig and swipe in here to get the ball out of his hands. Yes, he's called for a blocking foul a little bit later, but ultimately just love the impact, the tenacity on defense. And I think a big part of Malachi's skill set is his ability to be directed, if you will. This time, Scottie Barnes tells him to move over. There's a dribble handoff with Gary Trent Jr. And ultimately, his connectiveness, just his ability to kind of be in the right spots in the right places, is really important when you're playing with these bench lineups. This time, Scottie misses the post up, but Malachi, again, makes the defense pay with the closeout. He attacks, finds Chris Boucher in the post, an excellent pass, and he makes them pay. He goes to the free throw line. And now, with the confidence there, the Raptors desperately need a shot, down 2 in the fourth quarter. This bench lineup needs some juice, and Malachi, with the clock winding down, takes Buddy Hield one-on-one and finishes over top with a nice layup. That is a tough shot, but it comes because of the confidence he developed earlier in the game. Another broken play here. Chris Boucher misses the lay-in, but Malachi, again, just the hustle play of getting to the ball first and finishing with the layup here. Again, tenacity, chasing after it, being willing to. And then once again, the game on the line, 7:50 left. They're letting him close this one out. You know, he's playing big time minutes now. He takes Buddy Hield once again all the way to the basket, using that speed to finish and give the Raptors the lead. Malachi Flynn probably had the best game of his career tonight. And I'm saying that, you know, he did win Rookie of the Month. He was exceptional in April of his rookie season for the Raptors. But I think in terms of what role he is to play for this Raptors team, he excelled in that role tonight for this team. Ultimately, he plays a big part of what the future, I guess the current iteration of this Raptors team is. I said the same thing about Precious Achiuwa in that Pistons game, and I think that's true. Whenever one of these bench guys can pop off for the Raptors, it changes the dynamic of this team because you can rely on your second unit a little bit more. The Scottie plus OG minutes have been very, very good so far this season. They have been able to keep up and sort of complement each other in an incredible way. If you can get your bench to really complement those two guys, and that means ball handling, that means shooting, which is what Malachi Flynn can bring, then it adds a different element to this Raptors team. If he can consistently do this type of stuff, he's had a really, really good stretch of basketball for the last week or so. If he can keep that up, he will be an NBA player for a very long time. I think that is a possibility. But ultimately, you need to see it consistently. I think the Raptors are empowering him. I think Darko Rajakovic is empowering him. And that's why he won the chain today, ladies and gentlemen. That's why he's Malachi him. So, look, honestly, it's great to see a player find themselves, discover themselves. I like to say that it takes a long time for guards to figure out the NBA, especially on defense. And for an undersized guard like Malachi, it's going to take a little bit for him to get adjusted to things, to find his role, to figure out how he can attack different positions and different spots and different ways and impact the game in a positive way. And I think he's doing that this season with the confidence that the Raptors are giving him. This is awesome. It's really, really great stuff to see that these bench guys in spurts can give you good moments. And if eventually by the end of this season, they can say, okay, we can trust Precious Achiuwa as a bench guy. We can trust Malachi Flynn as a bench guy. We can trust Gary Trent Jr. as a bench guy. And now you have yourself actual, physical, tangible depth, which is what this Raptors team is missing now. But it won't happen in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. And ultimately, they need time to develop. And that's what the Raptors are trying to do right now. I mentioned that in my Orlando Magic recap. I said, look, there's going to be growing pains when you're trying to develop these players who need the opportunity to develop. Precious Achiuwa struggled in that game. Malachi didn't have the greatest of games either. You have to live with these type of moments in order to get these type of games. So it was great to see. Shout out to Malachi for winning the chain tonight. And the Raptors will be back in the in-season tournament against the Chicago Bulls on Friday. They are pretty much eliminated from the tournament, but regardless, they got to play out the games and see what happens. So we'll see what happens on Friday. It should be interesting. The last time the Bulls and Raptors played, it was exhausting to watch. So we'll see. Thank you very much for tapping in. If you are interested, tap into the Objective Basketball Podcast. I talk about everything in the NBA. Right now I'm watching the Suns-Warriors game. Scott Foster ejected Chris Paul. It's a lot of crazy things, but tap in, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you guys later. Bye.